bringing you the best in rugby league.
Headingley, April 1991. Ellery Hanley lifts Wigan's second successive championship trophy after victory against Leeds. Headingley today. Hanley is captain of Leeds, and for the first time since his £250,000 transfer, he faces his old club. And Wigan will fancy their chance of spoiling his party. Cup semi-finalists, top of the league, Wigan's charge to the title is on again. The league's longest winning run, 13 games, points for 290, points against 112. Formidable as ever. If anyone can stop them, perhaps it's Gary Schofield. Without question, the man who makes Leeds tick. The Schofield factor is something any coach facing Leeds must consider, and Wigan's John Money is no exception.
Well, I think he's got great rugby league skills. He obviously works very hard at his game. He's a player that can do the unexpected. I think that's one of his major attributes, that he can probably go against the coach's instructions every now and then and take things on his own, and usually comes up trumps. A guy like Schofield is the one that does something individually and can turn the whole thing around.
Included in the Leeds team is Gary Devorty, even though he's thinking over joining Featherstone with Richard Gunn in exchange for Ian Smales. Leeds have been glad to welcome back Dave Heron, a versatile man to have on the bench, equally at home in the backs or the forwards. Wigan have Joe Lydon at fullback because two others are unavailable. Steve Hampson's already injured and Andre Stoop hurt his ribs in last week's 28-10 victory over Hulkingston Rovers. Billy McGinty moves from second row to loose forward in a pack reshuffle which also sees the return of Ian Lucas at prop. So Dean Bell reverts from loose forward to partner Gene Miles in the centre. Well, later we'll be looking at the contentious issue of head-high tackles. Now let's enjoy this big Headingley occasion, and an earlier question for David Watkins alongside me as always. David, the conditions will play a part today. Very heavy, plenty of rain, plenty of snow, and a match here yesterday.
Yes, the match yesterday, and snow as you said last night, but we've had sun all the morning and the ground is looking particularly good. Conditions couldn't be better.
Great credit to the Headingley ground staff, and Gary Schofield will get us underway. The crowd expected this always one of the big occasions of any rugby league season. Gene Miles. Hanley met him head on. Leeds will want to keep Wigan penned back inside that 25 if they can. Was that high? Certainly Leeds felt it was high. Ellery Hanley, one of the first in there. Out of 26 players got involved there. And it took all of 25 seconds for tension to get to the players. And the referee, I'm quite sure, will call over Ellery Hanley to have a word.
Let's just look at that, Betson. There was no doubt at all that it was over the top, and the referee is quite right in pulling the players together now. That caused the fracas, and they will be severely told, I'm certain, and that's the only way to stop it for the rest of the game.
So easy for early needle like this to spill over into the remaining exchanges. I don't think I've seen that before, David, that almost the entire team on both sides was called over the referee.
Well, the players will think they could do that because they all come in together. It makes it very difficult then for the referee to single out one player, and it can be used sometimes a ploy on behalf of players to stop someone being severely reprimanded.
So we're back underway. Joe Lydon. Ian Lucas. who is certainly one player who's very much in Malcolm Reilly's plans for the summer tour to Australia. Sean Edwards. This pitch, of course, full of players who have their eye on Australia, David, and no better occasion to test the big match nerve than this.
Well, there certainly isn't. There isn't a bigger game in this. I mean, they talk about league titles. They're on their mind is Wembley finals now, and of course, for most of these players as well, or a lot of them, Australia. So an awful lot to think about, as well as play in the match.
Bobby Goulding, of course, was on the last Great Britain tour to Papua New Guinea and New Zealand. Schofield. Well caught by Devorty. But he's lost the ball, and Wigan have chances now with Betts. Schofield back to tackle with Edwards. It's a little bit scrappy. Howie couldn't hold on to it. And the decision is they'll have a kick at goal, which will be an early chance for Frano Bottiga.
I think what he was doing there was trying to sort out exactly what the penalty was for. It wasn't a technical offence in any way, because I can't imagine them taking so long to decide it had to be a kick at goal. It's certainly something they've got to do at this early stage of the game.
Flags go up. Wigan have the first points on the board, and that may just help to settle down both teams. The first score on the score sheet.
Yes, we've seen one or two Wigan players in particular who know exactly what pressure's all about. But such is the ferocity of the Leeds tackling early on that we've seen one or two uncharacteristic errors creeping into their play.
The tackling so far secure on both sides. Well held by Wayne. Cavill-Hugh. He'll revel in a game like this, and indeed in conditions like this, if it gets heavy in the centre of the pitch as the afternoon wears on. Gary Schofield showing the sure kicking touch we've come to expect him over the years. And it was certainly noticeable in Leeds' victory over Widnes here last week that Schofield made an enormous difference. His first game back from injury. Myers breaking away from the scrum. Dean Bell made the break, but away from Hanley. Has Bell got the pace to go all the way? Doesn't think he has. Support from Miles. Edwards inside him. Inside him is Lydon, but he couldn't get the pass out. And good tackling back from Schofield. And Leeds have given away another penalty, and the referee, I wonder if he thought about reaching for his pocket there. Let's have another look at that.
Well, this is incredible, because this is a superb break by Bell. There's no doubt. He really took Hanley on in the outside. He couldn't hold him down. Now, this is superb backing up by the players in question. It was a little unfortunate. Edwards didn't see and have the vision to see Lydon on his right-hand side, and the whole issue was stopped. But Schofield has been sent off, surprisingly, for a tactic which is commonly used now in the game, holding people down the tackle until your defence can get back into position.
Gary Schofield on his way to spend 10 minutes in the sin bin. And the referee was indeed reaching for his pocket for the yellow card. Certainly not the contribution we were expecting from Gary Schofield, and nor the contribution that Doug Lawton would have hoped to see, because it gives Frano Bottiga a chance to double the Wigan lead. No problem. Appears to be completely nerveless, Frano Bottiga. That, of course, a perfectly easy kick. But he's very secure, whatever the stage of the game and whatever the angle.
Well, I was surprised really at the Leeds defence because they've tackled so well in the middle of the field. Once the ball was moved wide, and of course everyone was caught out of position. But the backing up is good here, as you would expect from top-class players. Edwards really surprisingly here really felt perhaps he thought he could go all the way on his own. That wasn't the case. And of course Schofield now is holding him down, you see, not allowing him to get up at all. And of course that's all that does, is give his own defence time to come back into position.
Leeds have made a substitution while all that was happening. David Heron has come on, a very experienced man, in place of Gary Devorty.
I can only say that as a tactic really, but the sheer fact that Schofield has gone off, and it gives them an opportunity with Heron obviously to be the playmaker behind the scrum. So that's a very good tactical move.
It is the advantage of having somebody as versatile and as experienced as David Heron on the bench. Lucas. Andy Platt, tackled by Hanley and by Heron. Bell only just held on to that. It is brought to the ground by Hugh and by Gibson before he can get the ball away. Something was said there, just out of your picture, by Dean Bell to Gibson. I think it was something of a warning nature.
Two more uncompromising players you couldn't get.
Good burst by Miles, he's got support inside him. Was that forward? The referee says no. On goes Edwards, good tackle. On the last tackle now. Options left and right. Gregory. Little kick. That should be Morgan Edwards' ball, and is. Well read by Morgan Edwards. Positional play has been outstanding very often for Leeds this season, and it was absolutely vital there.
Well, you say about positional play, but this is where Edwards has come into it. He really does. Gene Miles had made the break here as well. Once the break is made, he comes through, but this is the kick forward. This is another tactic which Gregory is very good at. When the field comes up very, very quickly, push the ball through on the floor, make it difficult for people to turn around.
Kevin Hugh just managed to knock the ball back there and avoided it going forward. Heron, Van Dixon coming up behind him. Ball thrown loosely away, and Bottiker is sent miles away. Has he got the pace? Inside him is Edwards. He's certainly got the pace, but Gibson was there on hand to nail him. Sean Edwards caught by his former international colleague.
Gibson's going to be called out here because he threw a punch in then into Edwards. The referee saw it. I saw it on camera as well. The linesman has seen it. He's explained it to Robin Whitfield.
Touch judge indicating very clearly what he'd seen. And Robin Whitfield decides that a kick at goal, a penalty kick, is sufficient punishment.
Just watch it here. Gene Miles pushes it back inside here. Sean Edwards picks it up. He's pulled down really by... Watch now. There it is.
Bottiker secure again, adding on a further 2 points, and Wigan's lead extended to 6 points to 0.
The difference in the two teams at the moment is that Leeds started off like a house on fire. They've now lost a little of their discipline. They're starting to throw passes together. Wigan, on the other hand, weathered the storm early on and are still maintaining a level of football and skill.
So Goulding kicks, and kicks well. And this is the first time for several minutes that Leeds have been anything like that close to the Wigan line. A big roar as Gary Schofield emerges from the Leeds dugout, waiting for the signal to come back on. Another minute or so perhaps to go. Dean Bell. Cowie. Gregory for Edwards. There's men outside here. Possible break for Myers. He's got lots of pace, but Bentley was wise to the possible break. And Schofield is back on the field, which is certainly good news for Leeds, but this could be good news for Wigan as Platt breaks forward, Betts inside him, Edwards in support, Sean Edwards on the last tackle though. Gregory. And the kick is covered by Gibson, forced to kick the ball beyond his own line, and it'll be a drop out under the posts.
Wigan are really playing like champions. They are creating gaps in midfield. The backing up is good. It has been some good cover defence by Leeds, but all in all they do struggle to plug these holes.
Quarter now to go in the half. Myers outside him. Here's David Myers. No stopping him.
Well, Gene Myers has been a major factor in the side already here. He's got the strength, as Nick said, to push people off, but this was superb, stepping back inside. A great try by Myers.
Certainly David Myers was very upset to be left out of the side when Martin Afire was signed. It's very hard to argue with the class of Afire, but Myers really has his own case to make. Scored 2 hat-tricks this season for Great Britain under-21s, and that's 23 tries altogether this season. So 3 or 4 yards in from the touchline on the left of your screen, Fran Botica trying to increase the Wigan lead to 12-0. Not this time. So 10-0 it is, and Wigan good value for that lead.
The strength of Gene Myers you have to look for here, because he picks it up at acting half-back and shakes off the tackler, then runs straight into Bentley, but it needed the substitute Heron to hold him as well. In the meantime, of course, Myers had taken the ball inside, found the hole in the defence and scored.
Wigan have made a substitution while all that was happening. Neil Cowie has gone off, and Philip Clark, there he is, victim of injuries this season, fit again and on the field. Sean Edwards, well outside him, misses out well to Botica, and Gibson just gets in, good tackle. And sensibly there, Schofield allowing the ball to run out of play, and it'll be a scrum with a Leeds put in.
It really has been a classic of what they are capable of doing. This is passing, which is virtually straight across, but so quick was the passing that really, if this pass had gone to Botica and he hadn't sort of swapped it over from hand to hand, it meant that they were exposed again on the outside.
Schofield. The magic is just deserting even Gary Schofield at the moment. And of course, once you go 10 points down, you feel somehow impelled to do something drastic, something dramatic, and that's when mistakes happen. Here's Hanley. Goulding. Creaser. That's a good burst from David Creaser. How far can you go? Masculine support. So's Gibson. And that's a good one. That's the best we've seen in the last 20 minutes from them. And they're still going with Goulding. Plenty of men over on that side. That's a bit wild. Craig Innes still going. Goulding. And Leeds still keeping the ball alive. Maskill. Cavill Hugh. Ellery Hanley holds on. Can he get the ball away? No, he can't. Enormous relief in the Wigan ranks. Hanley involved several times in that, and he's back there again with Cavill Hugh. to halt the Wigan advance.
That certainly should give Leeds some comfort now, because seeing that inspirational run by David Creaser means that the defence can be breached, and perhaps they have to go for it in the middle of the field.
We've seen Innes as well do it, both in that move and once earlier on, so it can be done. Here's Joe Lydon doing it for Wigan. Myers outside him, comes back the other way, still Myers available. So is Philip Clark, and Philip Clark's got the pace, I think, to go all the way. Yes, he has. One of the quickest young forwards in the game.
Leeds put their best piece of rugby together. It goes back to Wigan, and this is teamwork at its best. Lydon comes through on the break. He nearly slips on this tackle here. He nearly goes down, but he doesn't. Has the sense to see the man coming up in support in Clark, and Clark steps out of the tackle and races. It's now up to him and David Heron, who just comes into the picture, but Clark gets the touchdown.
Philip Clark, the Great Britain under-21 captain a week ago, on the senior stage this afternoon, and with great success. So, Frano Botica from wide out, almost on that touchline on the left of your picture. It's a very difficult one, and again, just drifting past the post. And Wigan are 14 points to the good.
Teamwork like champions. Like clockwork, it all works. Lydon goes up the middle here and exposes again the defence on the outside. He nearly slipped, but such is the teamwork of this Wigan side. He knows there's support there. It shows up in the way of Clark, and Clark really streaks away after pushing off Morven Edwards.
This is better. Morgan Edwards inside for Schofield. Just managed to hold on to it. No real support, though. And that really, David, has been the difference between the two sides, that Wigan have had that man on the shoulder all afternoon.
It certainly has, because they're coming across the field. Of course, they're running away from most of their players, Leeds, a result of which they've isolated a man with the ball, whereas Wigan, every time a break is made, there's 2 and 3 supporting on either side.
Ellery Hanley, will that go forward? No, the referee says no. Hanley back to take the return pass, and can Hanley go all the way? Such a difficult man to bring down, just couldn't get the ball out, and the hooter goes with Leeds in an attacking position, and the half ends with the controversy with which it started, and I rather think Leeds have chances yet.
Well, it was a punch. It's interesting now because the hooter is gone, but the penalty was awarded for the tackle before the hooter, so they're going to tap it.
Leeds run the ball, Schofield, and the ball lost, and that will be half-time. And the drama that Leeds hoped for to end the half doesn't quite materialise.
Let's just watch this all again, because it was a good run here by Hanley. Ball went through, some doubts as to whether that was forward or not. I certainly thought it was, but the referee didn't, and that's all that matters. He goes and shakes off one, but a great cover tackle by Botica. It's here now when Edwards is coming in, pushing, and the referee felt he was being impeded whilst on the floor.
So, we go off at half-time. Disappointed Leeds faces Wigan much more content with a half-time score that reads Leeds 0, Wigan with tries from Myers and Clark and 3 goals from Botica, 14. Join us again for the second half in a couple of minutes. Headingley, Leeds 0, Wigan 14, the half-time score. Leeds with a job to do in the second half. Before that, though, we can go down to the touchline and have a word with the captain of Castleford, victors over Hull yesterday, the first Yorkshire Challenge Cup finalist at Wembley for 4 years. The captain is on the touchline now, Lee Crooks.
Lee, you booked your Wembley place here yesterday. You're casting the eye over Wigan today, who could face you there. What do you think so far?
Well, obviously we're going to playing very well at the moment. You know, I don't think Leeds are defending as well as they can do. I think they're getting caught on the fringes too much. But Gene Miles is having a tremendous game. You know, he's popping balls up out wide and obviously creating Leeds a lot of problems. 14
points. That's a lot to come back in the second half. Do you think they can do it?
Yeah, it is a big gap to try and pull back. But you know, they've got some tremendous players of Leeds. I think that obviously if Gary Schofield and Ellery can start rolling the roast over things in the middle of the park, then I think that you know, they're quite capable of going the length of the field. And you know, once they get back with a try, hopefully, you know, they could carry on with that and snatch probably a win.
Thanks very much, Lee. Back to you, Nick.
Yes, thanks very much to Lee Crooks for coming back to Headingley 24 hours afterwards to give his views to Scrumdown. Underway in the second half, and Paul Dixon making the first run of the second half. Let's see how it went in the first half in terms of statistics. Leeds 3, Wigan 6 as far as scrums were concerned. None of those taken against the head. Leeds conceding 1 fewer penalty than Wigan. And the handling errors, that's fairly low for a game of this intensity. Leeds 6 and Wigan just the 4. That's very impressive indeed. And on in the second half is Paul Anderson, the 20-year-old who made such an impact as a substitute a week ago against Widnes. And he's been given 40 minutes to show what he can do in the second half today, with Leeds, remember, 14 points to make up. David Heron, Dixon. Tackled by Andy Gregory, with help from Clark. Heron, Hanley. And that's really an example of what's been happening to Leeds all afternoon. They really weren't sure who was going to receive the ball. Hanley threw out a longer pass than his colleagues were expecting, I rather think.
The tactic is good at Leeds. What they've got to do now is to make sure those passes don't go to the ground and they aren't hurriedly put out. But they are right, they are moving it wide now and playing a more expansive game. And that is already showing to be the best way to play against Wigan.
It's what they did, David, at the start of the first half.
That's right, but of course we had the sin binning of Schofield then, and we don't know what that made a heck of a difference to the team effort of the Leeds side.
And now Wigan on the attack again. McGinty looked a little bit forward to me. The referee disagrees. Bottinger held on to it well. Tackled by Gibson. Miles takes 2 to bring him down. Signed to replace Kevin Ira on the overseas quota. Here's Edwards, Sean Edwards that is. 2 Edwards of course on the field. Andy Gregory. And Wigan on the last tackle. Will Edwards kick? No. Long pass from Dermot to McGinty. And that will be the handover. That's a good run from Morgan Edwards. He's got Bentley outside him. Wonder if he might have been better releasing the ball, giving Bentley a chance to run. Leeds certainly appeared a little bit more composed at the start of the second half. And they have the penalty as well.
That means they retain possession, they kick forward.
Don't know what Doug Lawton said to his team at half-time, but they've certainly looked more organised in this second half. Goulding. The Wigan defence closes around you so quickly.
Well, we've seen that now 3 times. Leeds have put it forward, moved it about quite well, and then the final pass has been dropped, giving possession back to Wigan.
But it's been dropped, David, because Wigan are so good at defending and they're so well organised.
That's right, yes, but I mean, the more Leeds keep going at them, the more they keep moving it about. We'll say they tackle 5 times, but it means that you're thinking all the time what they're going to do next, and that's what Leeds have got to do, keep them thinking.
Dennis Betts. Dermot acting half-back. Little dart by Andy Gregory. And Wigan have used up 5 of their 6 tackles. Edwards takes over the kicking duties from Lydon. Good rubber kick. Sean Edwards, 6 times at Wembley, 3 championship medals, and he's still only 26. Schofield bringing Gibson into the action. Gibson deciding to come inside, seek a share of the ball. Paul Dixon. Spent 3 of the last 4 summers down under Paul Dixon and would dearly love to spend another one down there with Great Britain on the tour to Australia. Must have every chance. Creaser. Schofield kicks. Straight to Lydon. Bursts out of Schofield's tackle, but can't get round Creaser. Dean Bell with a half break. Good run by Bell. Edwards asking for it to be kicked. Edwards called for exactly that, and that's exactly what happened. Sean Edwards organised that right from the start.
This is what they can do and do best. Now this is a marvellous run. This doesn't happen very often, but look, Craig Innes didn't know who to go for. That moment that he stepped inside him, outside him, a superb cross kick. We've seen it on scrumdown before, but who's the man in the middle again? Sean Edwards. Anticipation. Great try.
Enjoying his best season as a try scorer, Sean Edwards, and of course was the Great Britain captain just a week ago. And easy for Botica. Wigan extend the lead to 20 points to 0.
Teamwork is a major requirement, and this says it all. Bell, cross kicks. Edwards knows where exactly it's going. He follows up, picks it up, and with the help of Myers, crosses under the sticks.
And Leeds forced now to fling out long passes. They've got to try something spectacular as we move into the game's final quarter hour. And that did look high by Myers on Goulding. And Goulding's upset about it. Edwards getting involved. Robin Whitfield across very quickly and says to Ellery Hanley and Dean Bell, the 2 captains, I'll sort it out.
Let's just look at this now. Goulding has got the ball here. Myers comes into here, goes right up far too high. He's got the worst of it. And really, Goulding's still smarting from the fact there, and the fact that Philip Clark is now trying to take the ball away from him. Look, up he gets and swings.
The tackle was so high, it was almost over his head. And at the end of it all, Leeds will have a penalty. And a chance to drive forward. Goulding. Leeds lying deep again. Anderson. The crowd again think that was high. and so do Leeds, and Robin Whitfield tries to burrow under. And this is what happens when players think that high tackles are not being punished.
Well, I've got doubts. I'd like to see it again, but I think he did catch him right across the shoulders then, but such was the philosophy of the way he came in, Edwards, that he knocked him over. Let's just watch it again. Here he comes now, barging his way through, does Anderson. And Edwards there, no. I don't think it hit him facially, but it was around the neck.
Just a stern leg jump. And Wigan make a substitution at Sam Panapa, joining the action. A try scorer last week against Hull Kingston Rovers. And he replaces David Miles. Sean Way. Anderson. Certainly he hasn't been overawed by the occasion or the opposition. Here's Schofield. Goulding lost the ball in the tackle.
That's good cover defence then by Wigan. Andy Platt hiding behind the man, comes up, take Goulding out of the game. The surprise if it meant he dropped the ball, and Wigan have the ball again and a penalty.
And I think the referee wants a word with Bobby Goulding. Two men from Widnes.
Just look now when he comes in there. I mean, they really are coming in hard and fast on the ball.
Back in the action because Dean Bell has evaded Morgan Edwards. Can Bentley catch him? No! The touch judge says the try is good.
This side has the knack of coming back when you least expect it, and this is a sheer determination and speed on the outside by Dean Bell. He really is having a remarkable season. That was a magnificent try.
Dean Bell, another man in the Wigan team, who's playing against his old club. So, Frano Botica. That's the kick as he sees it. Just fell short on that occasion, but Wigan surely now are out of sight at 24 points to 0.
The classic break on the outside splits the defence, and an outrageous dummy sees Craig Innes taking thin air. It's then speed and determination, an outside run which takes him outside Morgan Edwards. It's Bentley coming across to knock him in at the corner, but his speed has got him there, and for Bell it's a marvellous try.
Joe Lydon finding space for the kick, and his opposite number, Morgan Edwards, having trouble with the bounce. Gibson, to stretch to hold on to that at all. Dave Heron making a couple of yards as we move into the final minute. Edwards, again, the timing of the Wigan tackling, absolutely first class. Goulding. into the gap behind Andy Gregory. There's Joe Lyne. An afternoon that promised so much for Leeds. Hopes were so high after last week's 40-28 victory over Widnes, in which they played really excellent flowing rugby league. Wigan have been a different proposition. Ian Lucas. Edwards, can Wigan crown it with something dramatic in the final seconds? They're on the last tackle. Andy Gregory. The little maestro came off a chest. The referee said it'll be a handover. Acting halfback is Gary Devorty, who must spend the next few hours deciding whether to go to Featherstone Rovers or to stay at Leeds. Ian Smales is the man that Doug Lawton would like to bring to Headingley. Bentley for Schofield. Innes. Chance is still for Leeds. Morgan Edwards outside him. Edwards looking for the support. Schofield is with him. Still Morgan Edwards goes. Devorty inside and Hanley the other way. And the hooter goes. And 20,800 people have seen Wigan exact revenge for Leeds' victory at Central Park. Ellery Hanley's first game since leaving Wigan against his old club ends in disappointment. A comprehensive Wigan victory, and an afternoon really when they've exhibited all the qualities for which they've become justly famous in the last few years. Ellery Hanley shaking hands with old colleagues, old friends. But we end with a score that shows no Leeds points on the board. Wigan have tries from Myers, Clark, Edwards and Bell, 4 goals from Franny Botica. It's Leeds 0, Wigan 24, and let's ask David Watkins where he thinks the match was won and lost.
Well, the early Schofield sin bin for holding down the tackle meant Leeds lost their rhythm. Their efforts were then wasted, their discipline broke down. But it has to be said that the class and vision of Wigan as a team prospered.
Martin, it couldn't have been much more convincing, could it?
No, come at Leeds and get 24 points is it's a good feat, like. But all credit to the forwards. The forwards did the job today, and the backs took over and did the business and scored the points.
It got a bit tough at times, didn't it?
Well, it always is at Leeds. But they came out and we came out still with a bit of interest. The forwards come out on top at the end of the game.
Yeah, there's a few gaps out there. Leeds play a very jammed defensive game, and you know, if you're prepared to throw the ball out wide, well, the gaps are there, and you know, we're prepared to do that today, and we took our chances, and it paid dividends.
It was billed as a crunch match, but really there was a big difference between the two teams, wasn't there?
No, we treated it as a crunch match, as you said, and you know, we had a good build-up during the week, and the build-up in the dressing room was great, and we took that out in the field, and I think that showed with the commitment the boys showed in the first 40 minutes.
Well, I mean, you know, it's all over now. You've got to look forward to next week now, and you know, it's all very well to kind of sit down and stew over it, but we know what we did wrong, and next week I think we'll come out, you know, twice as hard.
What did you do wrong?
Well, like I say, you know, we just we relaxed and let them run a little bit, and you know, against a team like Wigan, you just can't afford to do it. You know, this is my first time playing them, but I've watched them plenty of times, and I know what they're like. So, and you know, we were guilty of that today, and they took advantage of it.
Did you learn a few things from them?
Yeah, I'm learning all the time. Learning every game I play. You know, there's something different that I'm picking up, and I'm sure I'll leave plenty today as well.
Championship's not over yet, but this score sends a message to everybody else, doesn't it?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I think John's putting in mind that we play one game at a time. That's exactly as we're doing. We're just taking each game as it comes. Obviously, in a couple of weeks we've got the semi-final, but we're not looking to that. We're looking to this week, which was Leeds. Our preparation was good and we got a good result. And then our next game is Salford, and we're just looking as far ahead as that.
Here's our usual check on the figures behind the action. Wigan's Martin Dermott taking the scrums 11-8 with none against the head. Wigan conceded twice as many penalties as Leeds, but crucially Leeds conceded early ones in kickable positions, while Leeds spilled the ball 4 times more than the champions. Thanks to both coaches for letting us have their tackle counts, Paul Dixon, Sean Wayne and Ellery Hanley leading the way for Leeds, their high figures reflecting the defending they had to do. Andy Platt with 25 topping the Wigan count, followed by Ian Lucas and Dennis Betts.
In the news tonight, a hat-trick for Gerald Caudle eases Bradford's relegation fears at Swinton. 2 more tries for Greg Austin as high-scoring Halifax beat Warrington. Gary Spencer's late score snatches victory for Wakefield at Salford. And Andy Currier sent off as Hull KR boost their Premiership hopes with a narrow win over Widnes. The results in the Stones Bitter Championship: Halifax 38, Warrington 20, Hull KR 10, Widnes 8, Leeds 0, Wigan 24, Salford 12, Wakefield 18, and Swinton 14, Bradford 42. Wigan still on course for their 3rd successive championship. St Helens level on points, but they played 2 games more. Cup finalist Castleford still lead the chasing pack. At the bottom, Bradford's win at doomed Swinton lifts them out of the bottom 2 for the first time this season. But with Featherstone, they're still in the mire. Division 2 results: Carlisle 19, Lee 11, Oldham 16, London Crusaders 4, Rydale York 4, Rochdale 30. That defeat means 3rd Division football at Rydale next season. And Workington 18, Sheffield 36. And the Eagles still very much in the hunt for the 2nd Division title after Lee's defeat at Carlisle. Confirmation there at the bottom of Rydale York's relegation to Division 3. On the way up, Huddersfield, 2 tries from David Oates puts Alex Murphy's men 2 points clear at the top of the 3rd Division. The results: Doncaster 11, Barrow 11, Highfield 20, Hunslet 48, Huddersfield 24, Whitehaven 6, Keighley 28, Trafford 14, 2 tries for Andy Ayres there, and Nottingham 16, Chorley 24. So Huddersfield clear at the top with promotion edging ever nearer. Their rivals for the championship, Bramley, play at Scarborough tomorrow night.
Well, now we're going to take a look at the contentious issue of head-high tackles. We've seen them several times on scrumdown this season. Sometimes they appear to go unpunished. Sometimes offenders can end up with an 8-match suspension. And few issues get fans or players more frustrated. Let's hear the very strong views of Gary Mercer of Warrington, who was himself a victim of a high tackle in the cup match a couple of weeks ago.
I tell you, it's frustrating players. I mean, the game's, it's got to improve. The referee's got to improve on these head-high tackles. It's like, you know, it doesn't matter if you're playing for Swinton, Wigan, whoever you're playing with. I think if there's a head-high tackle, you've got to go. And, you know, that's marring the game at the moment. It's such a good game, and it's just frustrating players.
There was, of course, an early flare-up today when all 26 players got excited about this tackle. This is how the referee, Robin Whitfield, saw it.
That was a high tackle. Because of that, there's a lot of feeling out there from the kick-off. And you've got a lot of ex-Wigan players, and of course you've got the top stars like Ellery and Gary Schofield on the paddock. 10, 15 seconds, all over. I had a word with them, and the rest of the game went okay. As a referee, you've got to see it as you see it, and you cannot be swayed. But that's me as an experienced referee. I mean, some of the younger lads, quite innocently, subconsciously, might get that pressure get to them, and it could cloud the judgment. I'm not saying it does, but it can do. I think the referees basically are quite clear on what to do, but I think it's the public that need sort of being made aware of what is and what isn't.
To deal with illegal head-high tackles, Scrumdown suggests referees need to be more consistent. The offender should be suspended until the victim is fit to return. And clubs should be heavily fined for serious offenders. Well, that's our suggestion. What do you think? Let us know your views on high tackles, and we'll be airing some of them in next week's programme. Keep them brief, please, and send them to Head Tackles, Scrumdown, Yorkshire Television, Leeds, LS3 1JS. And we'd like them, please, by this Thursday. That's March the 19th. Head Tackles, Scrumdown, Yorkshire Television, Leeds, LS3 1JS. A selection of your opinions on the programme next week, and then a week later, the Rugby League's Chief Executive, David Oxley, will be in the hot seat to answer some of the issues raised. Our action next week comes from the Boulevard, Hull and Leeds, each looking to bounce back from disappointment.